O vídeo que se segue é uma entrevista real entre uma conselheira de gestão de conflitos, Kelly, e uma aluna, Taylor, que veio para a rua da aula da professora Miss Ayler. Esta entrevista mostra a sequência da Intervenção Reformadora Bandeira Vermelha, a sequência de 6 passos, e, portanto, ilustra muito bem essa intervenção. As imagens estão desfocadas por questões de confidencialidade. Antes da entrevista, o Dr. Frank Faxer, um dos criadores do curso Life Space Crisis Intervention, descreve a situação que se passou na sala de aula.
In this videotape, we're going to see Kelly Scott working with a high school student, Taylor. Taylor has arrived at school upset. She walks into Miss Heller's first period class, and she pulls a chair out from under her desk so hard that it crashed to the floor. Miss Heller tells Taylor to leave the room and go to the office. Taylor is upset about this, but she soon calms down as Kelly drains off her strong feelings and really shows a genuine interest in listening to Taylor's story. So let's watch as Kelly guides Taylor through the 6 stages of a red flag reclaiming intervention.
Like you're really upset.
I am. I don't even know why I'm here.
I hear that. I wonder what happened. Can we talk about this?
I don't want to talk.
You don't want to talk about it? Well, can you just sit down and wait with me for a few minutes? Because you seem really angry.
I don't care.
Well, thanks for picking up the chair. Appreciate that. Can I sit down next to you?
Go ahead.
Thanks. Yeah, you're really just stormed into my office. There must be something, man.
Because Mrs. Teller sent me here. I don't even know why she sent me here, though. I didn't do anything wrong.
You didn't?
No.
Wow, you sound very angry about that. Thanks. Well, I'm glad you came into my office. Did Miss Heller tell you to come into the office?
Yes.
Well, that was a good thing. A good decision that you came right here.
But I didn't do anything.
Well, I appreciate that you didn't do anything. It sounds like you're very confused about what happened.
I am.
Yeah. Okay, well, Miss Heller's class, you usually really like Miss Heller's class. And you and Miss Heller, you have a good relationship together. So let's try to figure out, we'll sit here and try to figure out what's happening together. Thanks for coming in here and sitting down with me.
Yeah.
Let's just see if we can figure out what's going on. Tell me what happened when you got to Miss Heller's class this morning.
Well, I walked into class, and I pushed my chair back and ended up falling over. She thought I just threw the chair over.
Oh, okay. All right. So you got to school this morning. Is Miss Heller's class then your first period class?
Yes.
Yeah. How'd you get to school today? Did you come on the bus or did you walk?
I walked.
You walked. Okay. And how was your morning this morning when you got up?
Fine.
It was fine? It doesn't really look like it was fine. You were feeling okay when you got to school and you were happy when you woke up this morning?
No, I was angry.
You were angry? Okay. So you were angry when you got to school. Were you angry when you woke up?
Yeah, a little bit.
You were? All right. Well, what about yesterday when you got home from school? What was going on then? Well, what happened yesterday when you got home from school?
Well, when I walked in the door, my dad was sitting on the couch with another woman.
Really? That
Yeah.
must have been hard for you.
Yeah, I don't like her.
You don't like her. You'd met her before then?
Yes.
Yeah. And you just don't like her at all?
No, not at all.
I'm sorry to hear that. That must be very difficult for you.
It is.
Yeah. Did your dad ask you about this? Did he ask you if it was okay if she was at the house or anything like that? No.
He didn't say anything.
So then what happened after you got home and you saw your dad and this woman there? Did you guys have time to watch TV together, or did you have dinner, or?
No, I didn't say anything. I just walked upstairs and went to my room.
You did? Yeah. Did your dad know you were angry?
I don't know.
Yeah. So normally when you get home from school, you would say something to your dad, right? You would say, "Hey,
Yeah.
how's it going?" Did you do that?
No.
No. So your dad might have been pretty aware that you weren't very happy with him if he just kind of walked in the house and walked up the stairs?
Yeah. Maybe.
And what happened from there?
I just sat in my room for the rest of the night because I didn't want to be downstairs with them.
Oh, okay. Did your dad ever come up and talk to you?
No.
All right. So you just stayed in your room the rest of the night?
Well, he said goodnight to me.
He did say goodnight?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. Did you tell him anything?
No.
You didn't tell him how you were feeling?
No.
Okay. What about the friend of his? Did you say anything to her?
No. The only time I saw her was when I walked in the door and they were sitting together.
Okay. All right. So then you went up to your room. Did you have dinner or anything?
No. I had extra lunch in my backpack.
Oh, okay. So you had something to eat. So you, I guess what you're kind of telling me is you got home from school and your dad was there with this friend of his sitting on the couch, and it's a friend that you don't like.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you were mad about that.
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't say anything to your dad that you were mad. You just stormed up the stairs,
Yeah.
slammed the room, and stayed in there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And then when he came to say goodnight, he didn't ask me if I was upset, so I didn't tell him.
Okay. All right. And then you went to bed
Mm-hmm.
and woke up in the morning, this morning, and what happened from there?
I was just still in a bad mood.
Okay. Did you have breakfast with your dad?
No, he made me breakfast and he was downstairs drinking coffee, but we didn't eat breakfast together. I didn't sit with him.
Okay. What were you thinking about all this?
I was just sad.
You were sad. You were feeling sad?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. What thoughts might have been going through your head? What were you thinking about your dad at this time, or thinking about this friend of his?
I was thinking that I hated my dad, and I was upset that she was there after school and he didn't say anything to me about it.
Yeah. Okay, so you were thinking that you were really not liking this woman and thinking it was pretty unfair of him to bring her to the house?
Yes.
And you were feeling sad?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you got up this morning and you had breakfast and you came to school. Then you walked into Miss Heller's class and Miss Heller did what?
She got mad at me for accidentally pushing my chair over,
Okay.
but she was telling me that it wasn't an accident.
Okay. I see. So you walked into class and you were feeling still angry?
A little bit.
You maybe pushed back on your chair a little bit?
Too hard.
Okay. And it fell on the floor? Did she talk to you about that, or did you say anything to her?
She just sent me to the office.
Okay. All right. So then you came to the office, and you came right here, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate you not wandering the halls and not leaving school. And I just want to make sure that I have all the facts straight. You left school yesterday in a fine mood. Things were going pretty well. And you went home, and your dad had a friend there, and you don't like this friend.
No.
All right. And you stormed up to your bedroom and just stayed there. Pretty much missed dinner, but you had a little snack from your backpack.
Yes.
Okay. So that's all correct then? Okay.
Yeah.
And then you got up this morning, and you and your dad had breakfast together, but you didn't talk about any of these angry feelings you were having?
No.
No. And you were thinking that you were telling me that you were thinking that you really hated your dad.
Yeah.
And you were feeling pretty sad. Yeah. Do you think you were feeling rejected, maybe?
A little bit.
Yeah. Maybe that your dad had this woman there, this friend there, and you were feeling pretty rejected, because I know this is hard for you, and, I know you might not want to talk about this a little bit, but I know your mom passed away just about 6 months or so ago, and that's been challenging for you, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. And so your dad having a friend over has been difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
And also because I usually sit on the couch with my dad and watch TV after school, and that's what I like to do when I get home. And then he was on the couch with her.
Oh, okay. Okay. So then you came to school, and you were still angry. Yeah. And you're pretty angry at Miss Heller.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you came to school, and you went to sit down in your chair, and your chair fell over, maybe because you pushed it back a little bit too hard. And how do you think Miss Heller was feeling?
I don't know.
Were you thinking that Miss Heller maybe was feeling unsafe about the way you were expressing your anger?
Maybe.
Could be, yeah.
But my chair just fell backwards. It wasn't towards anybody or anything.
Okay. So you just kind of pushed it backwards and it fell backwards.
Yes.
And then Miss Heller sent you out of class and you came here.
Mhm.
All right. Well, Taylor, I want to ask you a couple things that, you sounded like you were very mad at Miss Heller when you walked in my office. You were calling her names and slamming my door. You were pretty upset with Miss Heller. And it sounds like, Miss Heller was pretty concerned about the way you were acting in class. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. We talked about a couple of things that, in the past we've talked about something called displacement. And displacement, I'm sure you remember, we've talked about this, is when you have angry feelings towards one person and you take those feelings out on another person. And I'm wondering if something like that was going on here today.
I think so.
Yeah. You didn't want to necessarily come to class, is what you're saying?
Right.
Okay.
Not really.
Not
I was still upset, but I knew I had to come to school.
Well, I'm glad you did that. I'm glad you came to school. That was great. It was great. And then you came to class, but when Miss Heller asked you to take your seat, you pushed your chair back, it fell on the floor, Miss Heller was feeling a little bit unsafe and asked you to leave class.
Yes.
And you're pretty mad at Miss Heller about having you leave class.
Yeah, but she told me I needed to calm down.
Okay. What were you thinking about when she said that you needed to calm down? How are you feeling about Miss Heller at that point?
I was just mad at her because she told me to leave.
Okay. You were mad at Miss Heller because she told you to leave?
Yes.
Okay. I'm wondering about something, and I'm wondering if your anger towards your dad is maybe the bigger problem.
I think so.
So remember how we talked about displacement? And we talked about your angry feelings to your dad, and you bring those angry feelings to school and you take them out on other people? Do you remember anything that we talked about a different way to solve that problem or a different way to deal with those angry feelings? Because you're going to have angry feelings, and it's important that we talk about those, and I'm really glad you're here talking with me about those. And those angry feelings are going to come, especially when your dad's starting to date maybe or have some other friends over. Yeah, I can understand how that's going to make you pretty angry. And then you come to school, and you've made such good progress here at our school, and you're doing so well. And I know that you really have a goal of getting back to your neighborhood school, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
And to get back to the neighborhood school, one of the things that we really need to work on is that issue of displacement. Bringing that anger in and taking it out on other people. So do you have an idea of what you can do? Something that might work for you?
Maybe I should talk about my feelings next time.
You could talk about your feelings. Who could you talk to about those feelings?
My dad, or maybe Mrs. Heller, because she's normally a good listener.
Okay, so Miss Heller is normally a good listener. Yeah. Yeah. I think you and Miss Heller have a good relationship together. And you guys really can work out problems together. So I think that'd be a good idea, is a good option. And so if you came into school and you were feeling angry with your dad, is there a way that you could get Miss Heller's attention or a way that you could let her know that you needed to talk with her?
Yeah. Well, I could have sat in my seat nicely and just waited until she wasn't in the middle of teaching.
Okay. So you could just wait until she wasn't teaching?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there something else you could do that could help her know that you really needed to talk with her?
I don't know.
Well, I know sometimes Miss Heller leaves her yellow stickies out. Those little yellow Post-it notes, and maybe you could write her a note and just say, Miss Heller, I need to talk with you, and put your name on it and put that on the computer. Would that work for you?
Yes.
Do you think you could wait to talk to Ms. Heller? Or if you needed to talk to somebody right then when you came to school, what else could you do if Ms. Heller was busy?